Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's Haley if you're new to this channel, and today we're going over the gene key number 7, which is titled Virtue and Its Own Reward. The 3 parts to this gene key are the shadow state of division, which we'll be going over today, the gift of guidance, and the Siddhi of Virtue. So I took a couple days off from making these videos, which was nice and much needed, and I feel because I did that, I was able to sit with this gene key a bit longer and therefore derive more from it. So yeah, I actually do really recommend reading this book for yourself if you find these videos intriguing at all, because each key is the type of thing that you could sit with for a whole lifetime and keep kind of deriving wisdom and inspiration from. So this was a really interesting gene key because I'd had a conversation the night before talking about government and how hierarchies don't work within government and authority and just all the issues with the current political system. And then this gene key was very on par with that, so of a good little synchronicity. And it opens up with saying the 7th shadow of division is one of the main reasons human society operates in hierarchies. So once again, my favorite visual for a hierarchy is a pyramid diagram, and then you have the lower caste at the bottom, many rungs, upper middle class, and then at the tippy top you have that teeny tiny triangle that's like the top 1%. So I like to envision a triangle diagram to see a hierarchy very clearly in my head. And hierarchies are divided naturally, right, into sections. Whereas a holistic model, there would be no need for division because there'd just be one unit. And because we operate in hierarchy, he says we think in terms of hierarchy. Because we operate in division, in levels, we think in terms of division, in terms of separation, in terms of ego, in terms of, oh, I'm more than you, or oh, I'm less than you. Oh, I'm way too good for you. Oh, I'm not good enough for you. Whether we're talking to a person, a place, an experience, a vacation, a dream job, a dream house. And he says we've become so used to thinking this way that we no longer conceive that another way might exist. Okay, so you're saying there's a world in which I can think about things not in terms of division, not in terms of I'm either way too good or not good enough. There's a world in which all of my dreams are equal to me. All experiences are equal to me. All people are equal to me. And if everything's equal, not only is there no need to think in terms of dichotomy, there's also no possibility for that. All possibility cancels out the possibility to think within division. Because there's just one unit, once again. There's just wholeness. So hierarchy fundamentally is based upon division, which is the point he's trying to drill home right from the gate. Meaning, if I were to give up thinking in a divided way, give up kind of organizing people on this pyramid, then naturally the hierarchy would collapse. Naturally, I'd fall into equanimity with everything around me. That means, what does that really mean? That means there'd be no social classes, there'd be no economic classes, there'd be no racial castes, political wings, there'd be no different pay grades even, right? There wouldn't be a boss or a worker. We would think of this in different terms. And this isn't to say we wouldn't have different roles, it's just that there would be no power dynamics because all power would be distributed equally since there is no dividing factors. It says the seventh shadow makes it so that we're programmed to follow leaders. So if you think about who's currently leading the US, for example, I'm not political. This video is not political. I just want to say that. However, we can all agree that whether you're Republican or liberal or whatever other third party, the leaders we currently have to choose from and have chosen, perhaps, are not the best examples. And there's some compromises to be made on both Republican and liberal. There's kind of a lack of a true leader, whether it's in the US or really any place. There's very few true leaders out there. And so when he says leaders here, he's saying we're programmed to follow leaders, and by that he means people that don't actually embody true diplomacy, which is what we went over in the last gene key. Because remember, the diplomat wants peace for all. How many of our current leaders actually want peace for all? More or less, for the most part, the political leaders within the current realm are after personal ambition, or how can I make my country richer, my people richer, myself richer, how can I look better? It's all like me, division, division, division. I'm on top. My country's on top. So currently we're not thinking as a whole, as a unit. We're operating from this hierarchy, and this is why he's saying that we're programmed to follow leaders. Again, follow leaders implying follow blindly. You can lead me wherever I can't even see, so we're all going to follow blindly. He notes that in the I Ching, the seventh hexagram, which once again the gene keys as a whole is modeled after the I Ching, the seventh hexagram within the I Ching is called the army. And this is actually very correlatory to this seventh gene key, because the army represents the real power in a country on a political level. And if you don't control the army, you have no real power, is what he says. And again, he's talking about power through force here, not true power, which is the unlimited energy emanating from the heart space, but this power through control, manipulation, defense, offense, and dichotomy. And later on, he'll go on a tangent about how power has much, much more to do with inspiration and love than this kind of false and fleeting form of power that we currently utilize, as seen through the army of force and control. But that's an interesting correlation, that the I Ching calls the seventh hexagram the army, and then that's a perfect example of hierarchy and division within our current stratosphere. And he ties it all together by saying, however, instead of military strength, democratic leaders have to lead through force of numbers, right? Force of majority of votes, force of popularity among the peoples. But it's funny because even democracy, which is, the ideals were great fundamentally. It's checks and balances. It's trying to prevent control dynamics. But of course, we've allowed the ego to take over the democratic system, and people cheat and lie and spend extra money on their own campaigns to gain votes, and it's not done altruistically. Therefore, is it really democratic? So he's saying all of this basically just to kind of set the stage for where we're currently at. And this is actually what I really like about this book, is he sprinkles in little things about science, about politics, but he ultimately brings it back to, okay, let's not focus on these very pigeonholed subjects. Let's go back into the broad issue, or the broad gift, or the broad city, and focus on how to either disembody the shadow and move into the gift, or sediment ourselves into the state of a city. So he's saying all this just to, once again, exemplify that currently we live in a society that's hierarchical, and hierarchy is rooted in division. He says division cannot command true respect or loyalty. Hierarchy cannot command true respect or loyalty. This buying of votes, this democracy that we currently have going, these leaders, they cannot ever attract true loyalty or true respect. Because at their core, there's a lust for power rather than the good for others. Once again, just look at the current political system. How many people up there actually want the good for the all versus power? Once again, power either being for oneself or one's country. It's pretty rare. And true respect and loyalty can only be attracted to those who actually want to respect and be loyal to the all, right? Because like attracts like, law of affinity. There's a quote I like that says, "You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are." If I don't want to respect the all, if I don't desire to be loyal to all my comrades, neighbors, whether they're a different race, ethnicity, live in a different country, speak another language, whatever, then I cannot attract that loyalty and that respect. So a quick little contemplation. I'm tripping over my words today a bit. A quick contemplation is, okay, like attracts like, law of affinity. If I want to attract respect and loyalty, fill in whatever else you want. If I want to attract love, if I want to attract abundance, if I want to attract joy, whatever, brainstorm some words. If I want to attract X, fill in the blank, then I must give out that. What are some ways I could do that? So I'll walk you through a quick example. If I want to attract joy and abundance, then I must first start to give that. And you've heard this a million times if you've into any form of spiritual practice. How can I start to give out joy and abundance? It's not as cut and dry as, oh, I have to go give out money and smiles. You can give out joy in countless ways. You could give out joy by simply, I've said this before, writing someone a letter and giving it to them. Giving someone a genuine compliment. Even just looking someone in the eyes as you talk to them is giving joy, giving presence. I could give abundance by giving an abundance of my energy, of my time. I could help my friend move or help them with their task that they don't like to do because I'm really skilled on the computer and I know I could do it much faster for them. So how can I give blank, the trick here is giving, in order to receive that? And once again, not doing this from a place of, ooh, I'm going to receive all this stuff, so I'm going to start giving. But doing it from a genuine want and desire of wanting to give joy, give abundance, give loyalty, give respect, give whatever it is. And naturally you will find that those things return to you. And the nice thing I'll just say about that is, even if you start this activity from an egoic standpoint of like, ooh, what can I get out of it? All of these feelings are so warm and fuzzy that they will eat you up before you have the chance to live and play out your ego with them. He says, just as there are leaders, there are also followers, and both are key. Leaders are not better than followers. Followers are not better than leaders. You need two to tango. One without the other is not the holistic model, which means it can't operate or function. Excuse me, I didn't sleep great yesterday. Just yawning on camera. So yes, leaders are equally as important as followers, because the followers, especially in a democracy, elect the leaders. So if the followers have a low consciousness level, they will elect low consciousness leaders. This is why it's important that as a collective, we move towards a higher consciousness, a higher frequency. Become more present, more aware of our actions, and if they're rooted in love or fear, and how they're affecting the all. Moving out of personal ambition and into genuine care and compassion for the whole. So these true leaders have a true unshakable virtue, he says. And once again, virtue is the word he uses to describe the Siddhic state, which we'll get into in future videos. True unshakable virtue. This is the hallmark of a true leader. So true virtue over personal ambition. This is the quantum leap we need to make. We need to go from, oh, what's best for me as a political leader, what's best for my country, to what's truly virtuous for the all. He mentions here that this 7th gene key is a programming partner to the 13th gene key. So this shadow of division is in conjunction with the 13th shadow of discord. And he says that the 13th shadow concerns the inability to attune or empathize with the heart of the people. The reason these are programming partners is because in order to move out of hierarchy and into a holistic model, you need to be able to attune, to become aware, to empathize, to feel what it's like to be that other country or that other person that you haven't up until now gave a damn about. If you can't do those two things, become aware and empathize, then you cannot move out of this shadow state of division. So stay tuned for quite a while to see the videos on 13th gene key. And once again, programming partners means they're kind of buddies. They go hand in hand. They explain each other. Wherever you recognize another as an authority or a guide, the 7th gene key is at play. Okay, so that means in the work environment, the 7th gene key is at play. That means in politics, the 7th gene key is at play. That means even to a certain degree within romantic relationships or even friendships, the 7th gene key is at play, right? If you're playing power dynamics within friendships or romantic relationships. Even some families have a form of hierarchy, whether consciously spoken about or not operating. So interesting to think about, where do power dynamics play out in my life? Where is there a ladder? A sense of someone's on top and someone's on the bottom. And many people are in the middle, perhaps. This part is really interesting. He says, if you are weak, so if you're a weak follower, you will magnetize those who reinforce your weakness and even play on it for their own benefit. I read that and I thought, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. So this is how I attracted so many toxic agents, because I was operating from a very weak mindset, one that needed validation in order to feel secure when I was a model. Therefore, I attracted people, authorities, that wanted to play off my weakness, that wanted to be in this power dynamic. And so I think this is, because there's the common axiom, there's the law of affinity, which is like attracts like, and then there's the axiom, which is opposites attract. And so this is what I think it means. Opposites attract mean I am weak, therefore I attract people that reinforce my weakness. They themselves are not weak, but like attracts like in the sense that we're both low frequency. So that kind of helped me understand both of those, because those are seemingly saying the opposite thing, but they're actually saying the same thing. Which is another beautiful correlation to followers and leaders seem opposite, but when embodied in the Siddhic state of virtue, they're actually one and the same. It becomes holistic, fluid, balanced. There's no more division, hierarchy, or scales. So if I play out the victim consciousness all of my lifetime, I'm going to attract those who love to play off victims. And on a higher note, if I emanate a radiance that is beautiful and giving and loving and present, then I will attract those who either need that love and can benefit from it, or I will attract those that are also on that frequency and already at that level, if that makes sense. So I kind of thought about this analogy in my head, which is like, oh, okay, so let's just say I'm a bread baker and I bake sourdough. That's what I do. I bake sourdough every morning, and I have my little shop. It opens at 6 a.m. and it closes at 3 p.m. And the people that come to my shop are the people that like to eat sourdough. That's just what happens. If you don't like sourdough, you're going to walk into my shop and be like, oh, this isn't for me. I was looking for rye or whole grain or whatever. They're going to walk out. But if you like sourdough, you're going to come in and you're like, a shop all about sourdough. And then you're probably going to keep coming back because I'm the best sourdough maker ever. So in that analogy, it's I make sourdough, and then those who want sourdough come and get sourdough. Those who don't want it, don't come get it. In that same way, if I am weak, someone's going to come in and play off my weakness. We fit together like a little puzzle piece. So I just thought it was fun to think about it in an analogous way. He notes here that most people who are recognized as leaders, once again, these leaders that are operating through personal ambition, don't actually want you to stop being a victim. Because they're making sourdough and they like that you like sourdough. And they're going to keep coming back to them. They like that they've monopolized the sourdough industry, and there's no other person in town making sourdough because you have to go to them. You have no choice. They don't want you to start to broaden your horizons of other types of bread. Rye, whole grain, ciabatta, French bread. I don't know my types of breads, whatever. They don't want you to explore more because they fear they're going to lose your business. And if you don't come to their bread shop, they're going to lose money. They don't care about the whole community, that all the other bread makers in town also need to make some dough. No pun intended. So secretly, or maybe not so secretly, rather obviously these days, our current leaders don't actually want you to step into your power. Because the moment you exit that state of victimhood, that state of fear, that state of reliance on them, you're no longer dependent on them. If you're no longer dependent on them, their entire facade crumbles, and therefore they're no longer personally ambitious. In fact, they're the exact opposite of that. They start to lose value, money-wise and otherwise. They also start to lose fame and admiration and validation, which means that they're probably also going to lose their sense of security. So Richard Rudd drives home that we need to be very, very careful who we give our authority to. Who we allow to be authoritarian over us. Because when you do that, you're opening that door of a power dynamic. You're opening that door of dependency. and you're giving away your power. If it's done in this kind of leadership way, this personal ambitious way, this divided way. And in future videos, we're going to go over how power dynamics work in a way where there's leaders and followers in a healthy, holistic dynamic. And I'll leave us off here. He says, the mark of a true leader is one whose main interest is empowering you to lead yourself rather than binding you to them. So that friend that's always like, oh, but you can't stop hanging out with me because without me, you're not going to be cool. Or that romantic partner that always makes it seem like your life is going to be over and you're going to be alone the rest of your life if you never leave them. Or that boss that chastises you and makes you feel less than. Or that political leader that injects fear into society out of hopes that you'll elect them again. All of these people are toxic and using this power of leadership against you. They're forming dependency. They want you to be a victim so that they have power over you. False power, nonetheless power. I should say dirty power. And so a true leader is someone who wants to empower you, give you. A true leader wants to give you more power, not take your power. They literally want to lift you up, raise your awareness, give you tools, money, people, places, opportunities, experiences that help you elevate your own sense of self. So that tomorrow when you wake up, you can go about your day in an independent way, not needing them to guide you or tell you what to do or control your life or force you into scenarios that elevate their own ambition. That's very interesting to think about. In the next video, I will finish going over this shadow of division, going over the repressive nature, which is titled hidden, and the reactive nature, which is titled dictatorial. I probably said that wrong. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.